Hey guys, we welcome back. We wanted to give you guys a review of the Carnival Legend. This is the Alaska round trip that comes from Seattle, and our trip was on June 25th and went until July 2nd. And we just want to cover some of the stuff some of you guys that do follow us may have seen on our Instagram, some of the posts that were made on Facebook, things like that, because the trip on a whole was pretty amazing. It was amazing weather and
amazing company.
Yeah, we had some great friends, Strictly Nerd, Jen, Eric, Luba, Brian, you guys. Make sure to check them out. We'll have the link in all the videos below. We're going to start an Alaska series where you guys will see the ship tour. We did our bar crawl. We also kind of did some daily vlogging. That's new for us.
Yeah.
So we'll see
Chris tried.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes.
I'm not so perceptive.
And if it, if you guys like it, if it worked out pretty well, then, maybe we'll do some more. But we did want to cover some topics.
Absolutely.
The first thing is that you guys would be going into Seattle. Just quick pointers. We're going to probably come out with video on there's been some updates with cruising and environmental and stuff like that. So we'll give you guys those tips later. But specifically kind of for Seattle, try to make sure if you can come in a day early. We had a lot of people in our cruise group that were having problems. American Airlines were having a lot of issues with delays. We didn't have anyone that we know of not make it, but there was definitely a lot of posts of almost.
Close calls, yeah, for sure.
So if you can, try to come in a day early.
We also tried out the Seattle...
The Link.
The Link.
Yeah. The Link is their train that goes from the airport to downtown.
Various stops, though, if you're staying anywhere between the airport and downtown. Downtown was almost the last stop.
Yeah, there's actually one more stop after downtown.
Yeah. So we were second to last stop, and I feel like it worked out great. At the point where it dropped us off, we didn't know exactly where to go from there. It was a little unclear because it dropped us kind of in the middle of a mall.
Yeah, it was like kind of a underground part of the mall.
Yeah, so it was a little weird to decide which side we should go out on. But after that, we found our place.
It's pretty easy.
We were at the Hilton.
Yeah, we stayed at the Hilton Garden Inn, which was amazing.
They had a little restaurant and a bar, and it was adorable.
Yeah, it was
we
great.
Highly recommend that.
Now here's the thing. The Link, the Seattle Link, the train is $3 a person one way.
Yeah.
The Uber, the Lyft, the taxis, everything that I looked up before we even got on the train was between $38 and like $45. And what I was worried about is you never know with like Uber and Lyft, if you do kind of the economy one, will they be able to fit our bags? And this is an Alaska trip, so you're probably going to bring those big luggages. And
2 giant.
And so we took the train, and the train was awesome. And because it's one of the first stops on the south end, there's really not anyone on it. So you will have room to bring your luggage. They have a place that you can actually put your luggage. And then just ride the train.
It's pretty awesome.
So that worked out really awesome. But once it hit cruise day, so that we did spend some time in Seattle. We'll have a video about that and part of our vlogging experience there. The actual port was really smooth, easy process. Basically,
oh gosh, they've got it down to a science.
Yeah,
that's a great port.
Yeah, we basically just walked in and they looked at our arrival sheet, and we were even early.
Yeah.
And they were like, "Oh, just go over to this line here," which was labeled
which at
early.
Galveston, our home port, they kind of make you wait.
Yeah, Galveston, if you come more than like 15 minutes early, you wait in line.
Yeah.
Here, they have a line that was already being processed, and
they were almost ahead of it.
Yeah, we walked right in. They scanned our tickets, looked at our passports, and were like, enjoy your cruise.
Yeah.
And so we basically walked right in, and we did get put into like a waiting area because we were a little bit early. Had 11:30 boarding time or 11:30 arrival time. And we were on the ship, I think, probably by 11:40, maybe 11:45.
Stopped twice because of an issue he did with our boarding passes.
Oh yeah, don't double print, like double-sided.
If you mess up printing, don't print on the other side and have two different boarding passes on one page, because I kept handing him his same boarding pass after him.
Yeah.
And they were like, "You're already on the ship." And I'm like, "No, I'm not."
So don't do that. That was my bad. I mean, you definitely want to make sure you do print your documents, but
We're not
don't
doing that again.
double side print your documents. That's not always a good idea. So aside from that, I mean, we got right on board.
Yeah.
Our friends Eric and Jen, they actually had Faster to the Fun, so their room was ready. They were kind enough to let us drop our stuff off.
Yes,
so
that was super helpful.
Their room was ready. It was great. So we dropped our stuff off, and then we went up to Lido and we ate. And I mean, that's when you're on vacation. That's when you are starting vacation right then and there. So it was great. And
I think it's up the gangway.
Yeah.
But
so
to each their own.
So this is where we do have an unfortunate or disappointing issue with Carnival, was our room. So we got at about 92 days. So your final payment day is around 90 days. Sometimes a little more, sometimes a little less, but it's usually right around 90. Around 98 days, maybe about 100 days, we got an upgrade offer. And the upgrade offer was from us going from they call it the 4K rooms. The 4K rooms on the Legend, they used to have doors that you would be able to open, like French doors. They're in front of the lifeboats, but you could open the doors, get some fresh air.
Get the breeze.
And because this was our second cruise, we kind of made that compromise. Like, well, we don't need a balcony. We've done the cruise. Yeah, it was our second Alaskan cruise. So we'll just get something we'd open the doors at least and get some of the brisk air.
Absolutely. We didn't think we needed the view.
Yeah. So what ended up happening is it went into dry dock. That's another reason that the ship tour is also so important, is it just got out of dry dock. But when it was in dry dock, they sealed those doors off. They basically went full ceiling to floor windows. And so because of that, we were kind of like, well, they're offering us an upgrade. Now we had to pay for it, and it wasn't cheap. It wasn't like, oh, here's an upgrade for $200 or $300. I mean, it was a substantial amount of money. However, the room was what is called a handicap accessible room. Accessible room. So because of that, and it is in the cruise contract, it says at any time you can be moved from this room. And so we got on the ship, with the 90 days pass, it's time to board. There's been no updates or changes to our itinerary or our room.
Sweet, we're golden.
We're awesome, and I'll even put a picture in here so you can see the balcony of this room. This is why we decided to go with this room. This room was amazing, had a 3-length balcony, so normal balcony is just kind of like one room wide. This one was 3 because of its location. So I'll put a picture, somewhere on the screen here. And so that's what it would look like. That was our balcony. And it was awesome. And it was great. And about 12 hours into the cruise, we get a phone call from guest services. And they say, hey, we have an elderly guest that is 95 that needs your room. Do you need all the accessible features of your room? And so we didn't. And so we told them, no, we don't. We had booked this as an upgrade because of the balcony. And where the issue comes in is we didn't have an issue giving up the room. The issue was how the entire event was handled. They basically told us we had a choice, that we didn't have to give up our room, and they would look for other options. And they then took us down to the room that they were going to put us in, and they said this would be the room you would get. And they showed it to us, and it was technically an upgrade. The room itself was an upgrade. It had they call it the premium balcony. It had the granite countertops. It had the kind of bigger vanity and bar kind of area.
Wood accents.
Extra closet space, things like that.
Yeah.
But the balcony on this one was obstructed, as you can see here. And yeah, here, and here. And so there were a lot of other issues with this room. And I have a video of all of it. And it was basically right after we got moved into this room. And it's not great, but it at least, you can see kind of the frustrations and see what we were dealing with. We went from this big balcony to what you guys can see now. So we didn't want to make the change. Like, we understood the reasoning and we were okay with it, but where they wanted to put us, just, that wasn't really great for us. So we asked, hey, do we have a choice in this? Are there any other options? Are there other rooms? Is there anything else that we can do?
Yeah.
And
we asked that to the person that showed us the alternative room.
Like, we were in the alternative room when we asked that question. And she was like, no, you don't have to take this, and we can definitely look and see if there's any other choices for you or anything else we can do for you. And, we thought that was it. So we go back down to guest services because they did take our room keys.
And we're like...
Because, they wanted to get our new room keys ready if we were going to take this.
Yeah, and we're like, we decided to pass. And I guess this person's manager was like, yeah, guess what? You don't really have a choice.
Yeah. And so
here's your new room.
And
we will send people to move you and help you move.
Well, before that, though, they also even said, for your inconvenience, we're going to comp you a steakhouse dinner. So they were going to move us in this room and give us the steakhouse, and that was going to be the end of it. Now, again, we weren't upset about the moving. We understood that we could have had to give up our room the whole time, so that's not the issue that we have with this. Our issue was, we're putting you in this room, and we are then going to go through and give you a steakhouse dinner, and that was going to be the end of it. So we were like, fine, that's, what it is. So we went to our room, we start packing up. They said, we'll send someone up in 30 minutes. 30 minutes pass, 40 minutes pass. It's about 45 minutes. I call down, I'm like, hey, we're trying to move. The person I get a hold of doesn't know what's going on. Nobody's talking to anybody.
Nobody's communicating at front desk like, oh, hey, here's the situation just in case you get thrown in the middle of it. Which would have been nice because we had to explain our situation, which made us more worked up about it because we hated talking about it because it was pretty much the worst thing that's ever happened to us on a cruise.
Yeah. Now, also, this was happening right before Tracy Arm, which means that now we're giving up this awesome balcony and we're going to have, these visibility issues. So they finally do send someone up. We move. We get into this room. And then it's just like the cabinetry is all stuck and doesn't want to work and cooperate. Doors are slamming. The toilet has the back panel, the access panel for the toilet. Was all, it's kind of nasty.
Yeah.
And so, here's a picture you guys can see.
Somewhere.
And then, real funny part is the safe didn't work. The safe didn't work in the first room we were in, but the safe didn't work in this room either. And
it's an ongoing thing.
Yeah. And then we also, it was also just like, it's just a bunch of little issues.
The closet doors were ridiculous, and I don't think the place is haunted, but at some point one of those really tough closet doors that I had to work with just slid open while I was alone in the room. So I don't know if it was the room, I don't know if it was me, I don't know if it was cruise cocktails or what, but that was kind of creepy.
Yeah. So we got moved in. And, that was where they basically left it. So I made a post on Facebook, and I was very, very professional. Again, I can't stress this enough. It was never about the needing of giving up the room for an elderly person. That was not our issue with this. Our issue was that the upgrade that they gave us was, it wasn't an upgrade. And if this was a Caribbean cruise, if this would have been, whatever, we would have gone with the flow. It would have been like, yeah, it's fine.
There's nothing to see out there.
Yeah, but with Alaska, there's a lot to see. So I make a post on Facebook, and it drew a lot of attention to the point where we get a call from the hotel director, and the hotel director on the ship said, hey, because you guys helped us out, we're going to we're going to comp you the excursion. We did the Tracy Arm excursion, which we're about to tell you about here, and we're still doing the steakhouse, but this was also a premier cruise, so there's a lot of gambling going on, and what we think, we don't know what 100% happened.
We're not 100% sure.
A family or whoever was in the room
If you're that family, comment below.
Yeah, we don't know. So if it was an actual life-threatening emergency or family emergency, we apologize. We don't know.
No, I mean, it was an emergency.
Yeah,
we know that.
We had no control of this, obviously. But basically, the front desk called us and said, hey, we have some clients or customers that need to get off the ship at the first port, and so we're going to give you their room. And that room just happened to be
Was it Skyway?
Yeah, it was the first port.
Wow.
Which, that room happened to be a grand suite. So we've never, balcony is about as extravagant as we get.
Yeah. We're pretty minimal cruisers.
Yes, and this thing was ridiculous. So we will have 3 room tours for you.
Yes!
Our original room, the second room, and then also a grand suite tour. So you guys can check that out.
Yay!
And then from there, the rest of the trip was amazing. But
they really took care of us.
They did. They did a really good job. They made it up to us. We got the steakhouse. We actually even got a bottle of wine, complimentary bottle of wine,
at the
and
steakhouse.
not the first night bottle of wine either.
No, we got to pick.
We got to pick up to a $40 bottle of wine, which was great. So Carnival, if you're watching, thank you guys. You did turn it around because
you saved our trip.
Yeah. So that was the big issue.
And the balcony was amazing.
Yeah, and the balcony on the new one was actually really nice too.
Despite all the other things. In addition to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the big complaint or the big vent of our trip. So the rest of it, the things that we do want to tell you about, Tracy Arm was amazing.
Yeah.
And there is an excursion, and if you're watching this video and you're even remotely interested in seeing the glacier, you need to book this. You need to book this immediately because I think we were able to book it. They told us we couldn't book it until January. So we went on this cruise. This was June, the end of June. We tried to book it last year in June. They said, no, you got to wait, book it in January. So we did. We got on it. But here's the deal. When you're on the cruise ship goes up the Tracy Arm. I actually have a time lapse. We'll put that up too, so you guys can check that out. But the cruise ship goes up the arm, up the ford, and it can only get so close to the glacier. And so here is a picture of how close our ship got to the glacier. So I'm remembering this picture. It's not in front of me, but I'm imagining 2 mountains, and you see a little blue line, it almost kind of looks like a cloud, but some fresh blueness.
It reminds me of Da Vinci Code with the Holy Grail, and it's like the Holy Grail is like a third of the way. That's how much glacier you can see.
Yeah, and that's also fighting fighting the crowds to get to a place that you can even see it. So this excursion...
But the ship does turn around.
Yeah, it does turn around, but even then, with Alaskan cruises, sometimes you do get rude people.
And there's no way you could identify or even comprehend, even from where we were,
that it was necessarily a glacier.
The majesty of how big this block of ice is.
Majestic. So basically that's like as close as the ship got. This excursion, so the excursion works 2 ways, and I'll explain it because a lot of people were kind of confused. They didn't really know what was going on with the excursion.
It's almost like tendering.
Yeah.
If you've never done that on
So
cruise.
before the cruise ship enters the fjord, or just after it enters the fjord, a pontoon-style type boat will come up next to the ship and pick up about 100, maybe 150 passengers.
Maybe 120.
Yeah, somewhere. I mean, it's definitely under 150.
It's definitely under 200.
And that ship will then take off, and it'll fly up to the glacier basically. And we made some stops along the way. We stopped at some waterfalls and bears and other big chunks of ice that were in the water, and we get so much closer. And so here's a picture of how close we got when we were on this tour. So as you can see, much closer. You can actually see it, and when the glacier calves or cowls, when it's breaking pieces off, you actually get to see that. You can sometimes hear that. And with the cruise ship, you never get this close. Now, there are other excursions that you can, of course, helicopter the glacier and things like that. Those are much different than this, of course. And with Tom Sawyer Glacier and Tracy Arm, like Sarah was saying earlier, technically there's two sides. There's a north side and a south side.
Yeah.
And we did get to see both sides. Now, you spend most of the time at the south. You come back, you see the cruise ship, you think you're going to stop there, but you actually kind of go left, and then you go over and you get to see the other side of the glacier, which is not as majestic.
No,
it's a lot less wider.
Yeah.
But it does allow you to see kind of both sides of that.
Cool.
And then you get dropped off, and then another group gets on this ship.
So there's only two.
And they go do it, and then the cruise ship makes its way out. And it stops at the end and waits for that other tour to get back. So on a ship of about, I think it's about 3,000 guests, maybe 250, 300 people get to do this experience.
Very limited.
So you definitely want to make sure, if this is something you want to do, if you're not going to be doing like the helicopter or whatever.
How do you go about doing it?
You just do it through the Carnival website. But here's the thing. This one is interesting because they put it on all the ports. They call it like the Tracy Arm Glacier Excursion or something similar to that. But you actually have to call in or email them.
That's what I thought.
To actually schedule it. You can't, this is not one of those tours that you can just schedule right on the page.
Right.
And that's what makes this really confusing. Also, big tip, you don't get charged for this until you're on the ship. So
budget for it.
You can basically just put your reservation in and not have to worry about paying for it until you're on the ship. So I know a lot of you guys might be doing pre-bookings, looking at, hey, we want to do whale watching, we want to do this, we want to do that.
Right.
And they make you pay for it right then and there. Here, you can book it and then pay for it once you're on the ship. Like, you don't even get the option to prepay for it. So,
which is why Carnival was able to refund
that's why they were able to refund us that. Now, that's the other thing, too, is that this excursion doesn't happen at any other ports because it would take so long for those boats to get to there. The only way you can get to this glacier from another port is generally helicopter. They said that you will see other boats in there, other like kind of pontoon size. Those will, they're coming from Juneau. It's like 2.5 hours. This is what they said.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much it. It was amazing. Again, we'll have kind of vlog videos and stuff like that, so you guys can check that out.
Absolutely.
So another big thing is with Alaskan cruises is time adjustment. You guys might not be aware of this. Depending on what time zone you're coming from, we're in Texas, so we're in Central Time Zone. And you lose, or well, technically gain 2 hours getting to Seattle because that's Pacific Time Zone. However, Alaska is in its own time zone, so it's actually 3 hours back. So when it's 5 o'clock Alaskan time, it's 8 o'clock our time. So,
which is a tough little swing.
Yeah, so our typical dinner time was 5:30, sometimes 6. That's, 8:39 Central Time. So just kind of try to make sure you do adjust for that, or just kind of keep that in mind. Those first few days might be a little rough.
And also, the sun doesn't go down in Alaska?
I think the sunset was around 11 p.m. and then sunrise was about 2 a.m.
Oh, really?
So it was
really
like 3
good.
hours. You get like 3 hours of darkness.
Okay.
So
I never clocked it because I was like, it's sun every time I look outside. So
yeah. So just be prepared for that. We did bring.
should I grab them?
You can. We did bring reusable straws. So one of the big hot topic issues, especially with Carnival right now, is the waste reduction.
Yeah.
And so
which
straws,
we're so happy about.
Straws and plastic in the oceans, of course, is very, very bad. Now, there's a lot of different ways you could do this. You get silicone straws, you could get metal straws, bring your own straws, whatever you want to do. But we found that these were really, really awesome. And you can get them on Amazon. If you have enough time before your trip, you can get them from Wish or AliExpress or any of the China sites. And basically, it's this little plastic kind of container. And it went on our lanyard. We were able to carry it. It's not very heavy. But then inside is your straw and a little plunger to clean it. So all we'd have to do is literally just pull it out, and it's some stainless steel with a silicone straw in the center. And then, you got your drinks, and all the bar staff, everyone that we saw, were just like, oh my God, that's amazing.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
So we even had some.
You kind of just accordion it down.
Yeah, so you just kind of.
You
kind of pull it apart, and you stretch the silicone straw to fold it, and then put it back into...
It's so easy, and it's magnetic, it closes, and it also has, like, if you're a card, like your Sail Inside card goes in a lanyard, this goes right on your lanyard, and it's perfect.
Yeah. The only suggestion we would make is definitely bring some Dawn or some sort of cleaning agent, because what'll happen is if you are real quick to when you drink, and then you just kind of fold it back up when your drink's empty, that there will be remnants that get into the bottom of that, and then that's what your straw is going to taste like.
But it's a small price to pay, especially on an Alaskan cruise. They talk a whole lot about ocean waste plastic, so this is just a small step we can all do to better our environment and help the oceans.
Yeah. As far as the MDR went, the main dining room, so we did main dining room 2 nights, actually. Only 2 nights. We did do some breakfast. We did some sea day brunches.
We never went after that?
No. So the first night, we weren't grouped together, so we were all kind of on our own. The second night, we did get all grouped together, which was nice, but it was also the fancy night, elegant night, whatever you want to call it. So it was a very busy night. But one thing that we had heard kind of prior to going on this cruise was that main dining room service was getting slow, and that it was taking a long time, and the quality wasn't great. And so, we were like, oh, say it isn't so. We like the main dining room. We like to go there. But it was every bit of what everyone was saying. The first night, Sarah actually was not feeling great. She had to leave before the main course came. I said, hey, could I get a lid? And I'm just going to take it up to her. And it got to the point where I actually was walking out, and he caught me with a lid so I could put a lid on it to bring it up to her. The next morning, we had breakfast in the main dining room, and
sea day brunch.
It was still breakfast, whatever.
Well, yeah.
And
it's a different menu.
We had our group, Eric and Brian and Jen. They all had like orders of juice, apple juice, orange juice, and they were lucky that they even got them by the time that we were done eating.
Well, Brian didn't get his.
And Brian never got his.
His orange.
And it was the same thing with condiments. You need ketchup, you need mustard, you need A1.
You're going to be waiting 20 more minutes.
You're going to get your food, and then you're going to wait another 10, 15 minutes before you get your condiments. So, recommendation, ask when you're ordering your food. Hey, can you bring ketchup? Can you bring this now? So that when that does come, that you are ready. I mean, the food was still good, but the service was just, it was very, very slow, unfortunately.
Yeah.
There was a new service that we'd never used before. It came in our mailbox. Well, I was going to let you cover that here in a second. Okay. If you guys have been to Disney, if you guys, more specifically Disney World, they have the Magical Express when you are coming in and leaving, where they will pick up your luggage, and then more relatable here is when you leave, you drop off your luggage with like the front desk, and then they make sure it gets to the airport.
They check it into
and
the airport.
And they check you in, and you get your tickets and everything. Port Valet, I don't know if this is a new service for all, if it's maybe just Seattle, if it's just Alaska, I don't know, but very, very, very successful.
It was amazing.
We filled out the form. You drop it in the box. Same place that you'll drop your customs form if you're going into Canada. And the night before, they give you your tickets. They give you your baggage tag. And the only thing is you do have to put your baggage out the night before by 11 p.m. So make sure you have like your toiletries and things like that ready to go.
Or shower the night before.
Do all that stuff.
I had to keep my makeup separate.
Yeah. So that it can be put out. But we had no issues. Luggage arrived safely. No crushed luggage or anything like that.
No.
And so highly, highly, highly recommend it. And it's free. So I don't know if it'll still be free, but at the time that we went, it was free.
Yeah, they might be just trying it out. I'm not really sure why it's so free.
Yeah, but it was great. So we didn't have to pick our bags up. We didn't have to do anything with them. It was awesome.
Here's the other thing. We had some unseasonably warm weather.
Yes.
I guess it's global warming. I'm not really sure, but we packed our
winter coats,
our
sweatshirts.
Coats.
We packed all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
We used like 40% of that stuff, if any.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, some of this goes into my packing, but we got some of those
roll-up vacuum seal bags.
So we didn't have to vacuum them out with the actual vacuum when we were done. But we never unvacuumed them. So
they just stayed in the luggage the whole time.
Yeah.
And we didn't have, so to give you another example, in Juneau, the locals, at least our tour guide, said that it rains 300 days a year. It did not rain the day we were in Juneau.
Oh my God.
And it was awesome. Like, we had clear weather, we could see everything, we could see the glaciers every day. Except for the last day when we were traveling back to Canada through Victoria. It was really foggy that night, and then foggy the next day. But when we went to Alaska our first time, it was cold, it was rainy, very, very limited visibility because of the fog, and that's what we were expecting, and that was not what we got at all. It was
no.
We were out whale watching in 75-degree weather.
Yeah, it was insane. I needed to put on sunscreen. It was crazy.
So it was awesome. The other tours we did do whale watching, which, again, vlog videos, we'll have those up in there. And part of that whale watching was we did go to a salmon bake, which goes into
this.
Yeah.
This is my favorite thing on the whole cruise.
Yeah, so
the salmon bake.
Yeah, so it's right out. You can actually go there, I guess, even not on an excursion.
Yeah, I would say so.
You guys can look it up. I think they call it like Salmon Bake.
I think they do
Juneau or Salmon Gold or something like that. But their
towards excursions.
Their big thing is they have this brown sugar bourbon sauce glaze, that they put on the smoked salmon. And they have like a full buffet. There's it's smoked. I mean, it's
not.
It's fire.
But it's not in a smoker. It's not.
That's true.
It's baked salmon. It's a salmon bake.
So further back though, there's a waterfall and some really awesome nature.
Oh yeah, a 3-minute hike to a waterfall, and they have fires lit so you can roast marshmallows.
Yeah.
And it's in the trees. You just feel like you're in Middle Earth.
Or, as Eric would say, an Endor. And so
Yeah.
I'm sure if you guys check out their videos, he'll have some of that there as well.
Where are you going?
So, I mean, that pretty much covers our experience with it. The days that we didn't have excursions, we did go into port, except for Victoria. We didn't get off the ship for Canada.
Off. It was
Canada Day though.
It was
so
Canada Day.
We did get to see fireworks from the ship. We didn't even have to get off the ship for that. And then we didn't get off in. No, we got off everywhere. We just didn't go on excursions in
Skagway. We just went to the brewery and had fish
and
chips
it was so good.
and shopped. In
Ketchikan, we just went to the Mermaid.
Oh yeah, we just kind of walked around. We went in different shops, but didn't really buy anything.
Oh yeah, that was actually the other thing. So if you are limited on packing space and you're flying in and you're worried about weight, get one of those scales and stuff. That's always good. We were exactly 50 pounds when we went on.
But it was easier when we left.
That's because we used up stuff.
Yeah, we did get rid of toiletries.
And so, anyways,
I probably overpacked toiletries.
Yeah. So the thing is, though, is some of you guys may have heard that Alaskan gear, like jackets and things like that, are pretty reasonable. They are. Most jackets and like this here are anywhere from maybe $15.
This was $13, but it's like t-shirt.
Yeah, but they have like sweatshirts and jackets, and I think the most expensive one I saw, aside from getting into fur, was like $30, $35. So maybe don't bring a jacket and just buy it at your first port. But if you're doing Tracy Arm, there's no ports between you and Tracy Arm.
But there's no telling with global warming if you'll have 85-degree weather as well when you go on your Tracy Arm.
Yeah. So this last part is we just want to kind of our best and worst parts of the cruise. Sarah already said her favorite part.
My best was the Salmon Bake. That place is amazing. We're going to look up who they actually are and what they actually do and put it down below. Yeah,
so you guys can, check that out. My best experience was going with friends.
Aww.
No. It was great. It was great to go with friends. Go with friends and family. I mean, I would say probably this is a big one for me. I don't really eat a lot of fish, so when we went to the brewery in Skagway, it was awesome. They have a fried fish basket, and it was so good.
We split it and drank beer, and it was so good.
Yeah, and so that was awesome for me, which then led me to eating the salmon at the Salmon Bake, which was also amazing. So I'd say that's probably my best. I mean, the glacier is right there though, the Tracy Arm excursion, because when we went, we did Endicott Arm the first time because it was 2016. Tracy Arm was flooded with ice and no ships could get in, and so we went to Endicott. So we got to see Tracy Arm, which was new for us, which was great.
Yeah, we would normally say whales because our whales on our first cruise performed for us.
Yeah,
exponentially more than they did.
Way more than they did here. We saw
but it was still great
all kinds
to see
of stuff.
them.
Yeah, we did get to see some whales again. You get to see those in the upcoming vlog videos.
So Chris, what was your worst?
I really hate moving. Not just like moving the rooms like in the thing. Like I just hate moving altogether. If I was moving from an apartment to a house, it was like the worst thing ever. So the room moving part and dealing with that on vacation was definitely, I would say probably.
And that it happened 3 times.
Yeah.
Even though the 3rd time was a happy time.
Yeah, you guys don't know how fast you have to just like throw everything into your bags that you've already unpacked, and then wait around for 20 minutes because somebody didn't show up. And then we had the same issue. I ended up losing, 1 or 2 little things here and there. So
yeah, we did.
Because we're not sure what room we left them in, but we left them in one of the rooms, and I left the cap to projector and all kinds of stuff.
Oh no, that's where you left it.
Yeah. So, what was your worst experience? Hitting 18 drinks in one day.
No, that was my best. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know, just the overwhelmingly full feeling I feel on a cruise.
Yeah, you eat
so much.
Also, yeah, that does one last thing is it does kind of circle back to adjusting to your time zone. If you are coming from Eastern or Central, Mountain and Pacific probably not as bad, but I mean we were up at 5 a.m., 6 a.m. every day.
Yeah.
And so we would go eat.
6, 7.
We would go eat at the, grab like a snack or something from the coffee shop and then wait for our friends or everyone else to wake up, or just waiting for Lido to open because Lido wouldn't open until like 6:37. And some days it was like 6 though. We did notice we would go up and it was actually already pretty busy. Yeah. But you would then eat again, and then you would eat lunch, and then you would eat dinner, and you might then even have a late night snack. So you're eating between like 3, 4, maybe even 5 times a day. And it's just because the time difference.
Well, I was going to say, when I made eye contact with you, that our motto for a cruise is...
Carnival's new motto.
According to us.
Well, according to Eric and Jen, the group we went with, was, I could eat. Yeah, so... that is definitely something that you guys will probably run into. Also, the other thing is that there's not a lot of activities on Alaskan cruise because you're in port a lot, and there's a lot of things to see and do. And so there is still trivia and games and such, but not like a Caribbean cruise. Like it's very minimal on the entertainment. A lot of that stuff is still there, but you don't have dive-in movies. You don't have... there's not like super late night activities aside from like the club and maybe some late night comedy, but other than that it's pretty low on the events and entertainment. So
alrighty.
So that is it. That was our experience overall. Again, it was a great cruise. We had a wonderful time with our friends. Absolutely. And, look forward to all the videos. Lots of videos that are going to be coming out of this. It's just going to take us some time to put it together.
Yeah.
So, with that, I'm Chris.
I'm Sarah.
And this is How We Wander.